Afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to PBA at noon. I'm Paul Benwell, and I'm joined by my colleague Sophie Caesar. Before COVID, here at PBA, we noticed a big push when we went to conferences towards gold exploration in northern Canada. Many of the stories, regardless of having great potential, the infrastructure was just not in place. This is not the case for our company today, Gold Terra Resources, trading under the symbol GRDM on the Venture Exchange. Gold Terra is a junior gold exploration company that has assembled a highly prospective district-scale land position on the doorstep of the City of Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories. Joining us today, we have David Suda, President and CEO, and Gerald Panatone, Executive Chairman, will be joining us by phone. Welcome, gentlemen, and please begin when you're ready. And to everyone else, kindly input your questions during the presentations. Thanks so much.
Hello, Paul. Thank you very much for having us today. We really are honored to be in front of your audience, and we're very excited about the opportunity to give the story of Gold Terra, which was a company that some of the viewers may know previously called Terra X. I'd like to start by saying that we changed the name of the company because we wanted to make sure that we were talking about gold. And I think it was a timely name change, given that gold is now coming into favor. The broader market is seeing gold, the commodity, and the companies that explore for it as a great investment. So we kept the name, the word Terra in the name, because we wanted to make sure that we showed continuity. There was an excellent asset put together by the previous management team, and now that asset combined with the new energy of the team that we've brought together, we are very excited to give you a presentation today. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll go through the presentation. And I believe that we've got the opportunity to ask some questions after this. Okay, so Gold Terra, multi-million ounce potential in Yellowknife. As many of you know, Yellowknife is a known camp, and in Yellowknife there were two past producing mines which were very prolific. They produced over 14 million ounces at half an ounce grade. And so as we look for the next one of those, we want to make some forward-looking statements. So please make sure that you're aware we'll be making those. We look forward to finding gold, and so often we'll be making statements that look forward. So what are the highlights? Well, as Paul mentioned, this is a district scale land position, almost 800 square kilometers. And it's not moose pasture. There has been a history in the area, as I've already mentioned, and the town of Yellowknife has been producing gold since the early 1900s. So this is a place that has infrastructure. Not only is it infrastructure, but it is excellent infrastructure which supports mining. And I think this is very important. As Paul mentioned, this is becoming a theme. It's one thing to have a gold deposit in the far north or in the boonies, as our executive chairman Gerald likes to say. This is actually a property that is adjacent to town. And our first mineral, inferred mineral resource, 43101, that we put out in November, once we brought Gerald on, was actually an area which comprises of, it's in a radius of 3 kilometers, and it is very close to town. It's roughly 10 kilometers from town. So we have our first resource. After 6 years of no resource, we put out a resource, and it has roughly 735,000 ounces at 1.8 grams per ton. Certainly, we've got a lot of ambition as far as improving those numbers, and that's what we look forward to here in the second half. There's excellent potential, and we'll talk about the Campbell Shear target, which is part of the vision that Gerald has brought to the story. And on to Gerald. Gerald Panatone is our executive chairman. He's an old friend of mine, and also, we've worked together in the past in my previous life in capital markets. He's had a tremendous history of success, and that is why I wanted Gerald to join our team. And I think that the energy that he brings to any project, the integrity that he brings, and his track record, having worked for Barrick, he's built 3 mines, notably Detour Gold, I would say, is his hallmark achievement. He's raised nearly $3 billion. And, I think when you look at something like Detour Gold, which has generated many jobs and was recently purchased for almost $4.9 billion, it speaks to his track record. And we're very happy to have Gerald join the team. Myself, I came from capital markets. I've raised money for public companies, mostly in the resource space. I've been an integral part of helping them with their marketing strategies, putting together their management teams. And so over the years, I have not seen an opportunity like this. And that was the reason why I left that business to join and put together the team that could move this project forward. With him, Gerald brought Louis Dion, who was one of our directors. He is one of the foremost mining engineers in Canada. He's not on any other boards, and he sees the potential of this story. Sorry, I was just kicked off here. Pardon me. Are you all able to see the presentation?
We can see the presentation and you, Dave.
Okay, great. So it's just me who can't see the presentation. Just one second. All right, very good. So with Louis, we also got one of Gerald's other team members, Lori Gabori. She's on our board. And then the rest of our board is comprised of Elif Levesque, who was formerly with Osisko Gold Royalties and is on to an excellent new venture. Stuart Rogers, who was one of our founders. And together we're going to drive this project forward. Very well positioned, as I mentioned. You can see the star, which denotes Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories. It's possible to drive from anywhere in Canada directly to Yellowknife by car. So there's road access all the way to Yellowknife, which makes it a very attractive point of infrastructure. And you can see on the right the large scale of our project, which basically covers about 70 kilometers of strike on an Archean greenstone belt, which I mentioned was very prolific. On this slide, I just would like you to focus on 2 things, really. There is a primary target area, which comprises our 43101 resource. And you can see just how close we are to town. And you can see, if you look at the yellow, which is the geology that shows the main break, how close we are to that main break, and how the 2 mines that produce the 14 million plus ounces are on trend with the area that our target lies. This long section, I think, is an excellent depiction of why we think that our targets are highly prospective and why we're very excited to go and find the next large deposit on this project. If you take a look at the Con mine, you can see at surface there's a small postage stamp there that depicts the Con vein, which was what was first mined at the Con mine. It was roughly 1 million ounces at 20 grams grade. And then from there, they stepped across and started to mine what was called the Con Shear, which was the Campbell Shear, and that produced 5 million ounces. And we'll get onto that in a moment, why that's important. But as you can see, our targets, Miss Pickle, Sam Otto, Barney, Crestorum, they're all open at depth and along strike. And in the second half, we plan to drill at Crestorum. So again, here's a map that shows you our primary targets that comprise of our 43101. They're all within 3 kilometers of each other, and they're all very close to town, just 12 kilometers as the crow flies. Our first mineral resource we put out in November, and we did this because we wanted to make sure that people knew that there was an opportunity to build up a resource that could eventually become a mine. You know, for 6 years, there was no resource, and it was important for us to put the first rung on the ladder from which to build up. And in January, we set out with a campaign of 10,000 meters, which was designed to add to that resource. And it was done at Sam Otto, and I'll get to that as we progress. So in Q3, what's coming up? I think that's the most important part. We're going to do high-grade resource expansion drilling, and we're targeting deeper depths at our Crestorum target. This target had only been drilled to 100 or 200 meters depth, and as Gerald has mentioned many times to our investors, these deposits, they typically go very deep, and they're largely untested at this place. So we look forward to expanding the resource at Crestorum. And obviously, we've got this new target, which we're going to talk about soon, Campbell Shear. This is very exciting. And in Q4, after we do drilling at Crestorum and the Campbell Shear, we will come up with a restated mineral resource update. So Crestorum, what's interesting, what's exciting about Crestorum? It's been drilled quite heavily at surface on roughly 25-meter centers. You know, it's very high grade in areas, but again, it has not been drilled deeper. So if there is an opportunity to add ounces here, we think that we could add, you know, as many as 500,000 ounces by drilling deeper. And that will be the focus of the drill campaign. What makes this very exciting and interesting target is that the Con Crestorum comparison is one that's been made over the years. And you can see by these two photos, 1 million ounces were mined at 20 grams per ton gold at the Con mine. And you can see that the mineralization, the quartz vein in the middle, and then the sericite anchorite zone and the sericite chlorite on the side is duplicated at the Crestorum shear, where you can see Joe Campbell, who put the project together, standing in that trench, and that's right at surface. Here you can see a 3D long section of Crestorum, and basically what you need to focus on here is that there's a gray arrow there that points down, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be going deeper. This is open at depth, and it's never been drilled properly at depth. And on to the Campbell Shear. Before I go through some of the details of the Campbell Shear, I would like Gerald to just make a few comments here because, you know, as a mine finder and a mine builder, bringing Gerald onto the team was a lot about not just his ability to raise money in the capital markets and his experience building companies, but also to bring geological vision. Gerald, are you there? Can you make a few comments about the Campbell Shear and why it's exciting?
Of course. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Sophie, have you opened the line for me?
Yes, we can hear you, Gerald. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon or good morning for everyone listening to this presentation. Thank you, David, for the introduction. Look, as a geologist, it's always important to work on a good project. I'm going to tell you one thing. A good project can always go through budget, get the money, or raise money and you know, in the financial market. That's what I saw in Detour. That's what I saw during the phase that I was at Barrick. If you have a good project, you can have the money and you'll find the ounces. Campbell Shear is one of those occasions, one of those opportunities, I should say, similar, very similar to Detour Lake. A huge camp, a lot of ground, a main ore body that has been mined down to about 1,600 meters vertical or 5,000 feet vertical, shut down in early 2005 due to depressed gold price following the 98, 99 drop in the gold price to 250. Don't forget, today we're at 1225, 1230, 1725, 1730. So quite of a different world that we're living on. The Campbell Shear is host to 14 million ounces over a distance of about 5 to 8 kilometers strike length. It straddles our property over 70 kilometers. The ground has barely been touched. Last week, we released the result of some holes which are to the south of our property, 5 kilometers south of the con mine, 8 grams over 8 meters at 100 meters vertical. This is public disclosure. It was done in our last press release. You can look at the location of the hole. You can see that the potential for mineralization along the Campbell Shear is tremendous. Crest arm and con shear are 2 second order from the first order Campbell Shear. So you can imagine when you control 100% of the camp and it only been explored up to about 8 to 10%, but the potential to find another 5 million ounces is tremendous. What we need is just get the drill there and drill. We are very, very happy to carry on with the compilation. It's moving very well. We're going to hear about this compilation that we're doing along the Campbell Shear. You can imagine how many years it took to do some drilling. And also when you find there's very little drilling below 100 meters or below 50 meters. And in some areas, no drilling at all. So we feel very comfortable that over the next 12 to 24 months, we'll be able to deliver more ounces and hopefully repeat the Detour Gold story by aiming to multi-million ounces deposit. We have the land, we have the team, and we look forward to move in the future into more drilling to create more value for our shareholders that embark at this point in time. I'm not sure if there's any question, but this is, I believe, is going to be a big turnaround for the Detour, for the Gold Terra company. Any questions?
Gerald, we're going to leave questions to the end. You guys can go ahead and continue with your presentation.
Great. Thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you, Gerald. So it's very important to note that we are not just going in on historical data or going in blind. We've also managed to drill 2 of our own holes. These were true exploration holes that we were able to target via a IP survey. They came up as anomalies from an IP survey that we ran concurrently with our winter drilling, as well with some surface sampling and also some photos of rock units that were very similar to the Campbell Shear. We drilled 2 holes and they were very successful geologically. They hit the structure exactly as we were hoping. And we even had some visible gold in the core that you can see here. So we're obviously very excited to follow up on this as we do our compilation of data from the Campbell Shear. And we look forward to also talking about the targeting as we go forward through the summer, so that we'll be able to give you more information on why this is such an incredibly compelling target. So I'm just going to move on to Sam Otto, which we drilled. This is a larger disseminated sulfide target, so it's lower grade at surface. This has also been a focus for Gold Terra for a number of years and is currently the linchpin of our 43101. We have approximately, we drilled 34 holes in here. Every hole hit gold. And you can see by this picture on the bottom right, which has a photo of the 43101 pits, which are in pink. And then you can see those slices of paper. Those are all the sections with the drill holes. I encourage everybody to go to our website and see exactly how we drilled these holes. It will give you a very strong sense of the fact that we will likely be able to add ounces to our resource when it is updated. So we're very happy with this program. We'll probably go back to Sam Otto next winter, but it was a very successful program. And as I said, it will be part of our resource update. Just like to return to this infrastructure slide, as Paul made this, a highlight or a theme for our presentation. Again, the City of Yellowknife is directly adjacent to our properties and very close to our targets. There's a rich mining history. There are all-season roads. We've got year-round exploration potential, and we've got very good support from the community and the First Nations. We've done a tremendous job, I'd say, on this front. Joe Campbell, who put the project together, has done a lot of community outreach. We're very well established in Yellowknife. We get our drill permits issued in time. The Northwest Territories is definitely very mining friendly. There have been 3 mines permitted in the last 5 years, and as the diamond mines begin to come to the end of their lives, there's a lot of revenue that they need to replace, and we expect them to be looking to build another mine. As far as capital structure goes, we've got about 160 million shares outstanding. Management owns over 11%. We're going to increase the institutional ownership, and we're certainly looking forward to seeing our stock price move higher from where it is now. We believe that we're very undervalued, and with all the news flow that we have coming and the upcoming drilling in the second half with a focus on high grade, we expect to see our share price go up significantly. And that's all for the presentation. For the formal part of the presentation, I open it up to questions.
Okay, excellent, David, sorry. We have one here. Are these the old Peggy Whitty properties?
No. Sophie, I can answer that question. The giant mine is the old Peggy Whitty property. Some of the property could be old Peggy Whitty, but this is not the giant mine. The giant mine is completely out of our property. It's the one block to the south or to the north of the Con mine.
Okay, excellent. Who is around your property? Other companies that may be around the property?
No one.
Excellent. Sorry, just going through the question. What's the cash position and the burn, and what is the cost of the drilling?
Basically, when you look at the cash position, we're somewhere around 1.2 to 1.4 million. Our current burn rate is less than $100,000 a month because drilling has stopped. Our average cost for drilling last winter was $225 per meters. So we spend roughly $2.5 million drilling 11,000 meters of drilling. We intend to continue with the same type of budget, around 225, maybe a bit lower, where we see saving. But when we do drilling, of course, depending on the number of drills, the burn rate is more. But until we go back to drill, which will be late August, September, burn rate is very minimal.
Excellent. Well, that brings me to another question, actually, Gerald. How long is the drilling season?
Part of the property are drillable 12 months a year. Some area, for example, like Samoto, are better to be drilled in the winter using an ice road because we save a lot. I'm going to give you a comparable. Last summer, when I was not there, they drilled Samoto, a few holes, using an helicopter-supported program, and the average cost was $285 Canadian, or roughly $200 US. In this winter, we drill Samoto through the winter using an ice bridge, 0 helicopter, and it cost us only 225 Canadian, or 150 per meters, or 160. So very good, very big saving, about 20% cheaper to drill in the winter.
Excellent. We have one here. Who are your institutional investors, if any?
We cannot answer that question. Go ahead, David.
I like taking this question. There are a number of institutions who are listed on Bloomberg. I think anybody who has access to Bloomberg can take a look at that. Off the top of my head, I know that the ones that I saw listed last time were RBC, and I believe there's a fund called SSI that is listed as well on Bloomberg. But having come from the capital markets, I've learned that it's always best to protect people's identities as shareholders and their action in the market. So we leave it to them to disclose who they are, but we certainly are quite pleased with the institutional shareholders we've been able to bring in, Gerald and I, and that is one of our primary focuses, especially as those funds see inflows. There's a crowd of institutional investors that we'll be bringing forward and adding to the registry.
Okay, thank you for that. How many ounces will you need before you intend to go into production? And I guess the other side to that is, do you intend to go into production?
Gerald, this one's for you.
Yeah, so just to complete your answer, David, I'd like to say that if I could buy it all, I would do it myself. The threshold for ounces is about an economic factor. Currently, we have about 3/4 million ounces. We firmly believe that going around 2 million ounces, we would be able to put Crestolum and Samotu together in production. That's feasible, and that's in the horizon. And if you ask, can we do it in production? Look, anytime somebody wants to buy a company, we always listen. But I can tell you that the team we've built so far with the directors is that Louis has built many mines during his career. Louis Dion, our director's mining engineer. And I've built already 3. And I believe firmly that if we want to build it, we will build it. But at the same time, when a company is approached and wants to be bought, shareholders decide what's going on. Are we going to build it or sell it? It's all about pricing. It's all about shareholder value. If there's more value selling it at some point because we had a great offer on the table, we will definitely entertain it because the shareholder will vote for it or against it. Our job is to create shareholder value. It's not about selling or bringing in production. It's about creating shareholder value no matter what.
I'd like to add just one more thing to that. You know, having marketed this company before Gerald came to the team and brought Louis with him to the team, our strategy was, it was tough to be credible if you wanted to say you could build it, if that was where you would generate the most value. And I think that with Gerald and Louis coming to the team, we have that opportunity to be credible on both sides. And that, I think, is something that sets us apart from a lot of other juniors.
Thank you. And one last question. Terra has other projects in Newfoundland and New Brunswick. How are these connected to those discussed near Yellowknife?
I'm going to answer to both questions. New Brunswick came to the picture because it was a property that my former company privately purchased in 2019. So we got an intersection at surface of, 6 grams over 16 meters, never been drilled, easy, $250,000 to drill it, 10 holes, it's there or it's not there. So if it's there, great, maybe there's 1 million ounces there. The Newfoundland property was staked by Terra X before I came in. And what I can say is that we have indication of multi-ounces potential near surface and some high-grade gold vein. And since there's been some discovery in Newfoundland recently on those epithermal high-grade vein, we need to reevaluate the project and see if we're going to go back, drill, or option, or we don't know yet. But I have to tell you, nothing gets done without my technical approval with Louis and myself. Louis and I have worked for the last 27 years together on many, many, many different things. And so we will be there to advise David and the director to make the right decision to drill, option, or leave it behind us. So we're very careful about what we have before we let it go.
That's a good plan. So thank you very much, Gerald. Thank you, David. I'm sure Paul has a question or two for you. Paul?
Just a couple. If you're starting to drill soon, when do you expect drill results to start hitting the market? Late July, early August, around that time frame?
I don't think we're going to be drilling until, I think the COVID thing, sorry, David, the COVID thing is going to probably, until the lifting of the 14 days isolation is lifted for Northwest Territory, we're coping with that. And so we're looking at drilling sometime mid-August, end of August, and drill result will start coming your way in September. In the meantime, we should see progress on our compilation and getting ready for the Campbell Shear and other good news that we're working on.
Okay, and the money the cash position that you have now, how long will that take you, or how far will that take you? Or when you, in other
If
words,
we're
when are you
drilling,
going to the market for money?
you know, we always look at opportunity. We don't need any money now, but if you ask me, are we going to be drilling? Yes, of course, we're going to be needed to raise some $1 million but it's not going to be a big raise, and we're going to look into it for early September. But at this point in time, we're not looking to raise any money.
Okay, perfect. Alors, merci beaucoup, Gérald. And David, thank you very much. A great story. And everybody stay safe out there, and we'll keep you posted on the developments of Gold Terra. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you very much for having us, and we look forward to hearing from any one of the members of your audience. We're always available to take calls, and we're very excited to keep the market updated.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it very much. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.